Good evening to all. Many thanks to Dr. Himanshu Shekhar Misra for taking such initiative regularly. Really, I am very much impressed by the approach and attitude of Dr. Misra. Because when people, academicians are running for recognition, money, not all, not very much serious about this dissemination of knowledge. He's taking special interest and regularly organizing seminars, webinars. So it is definitely because I have such attitude. So I am very much impressed. Then thank you, Dr. Misra, my dear student friends, and those faculties who are watching this. Especially this is a social topic. I am a student of economics and you all are associated with politics. Political science, not politics exactly, political science. But social issue is not inseparable. It cannot be separated from political science or economics or everything. Because everything is linked with society. Our purpose of education is to sustain a good life, to create a good society, to grow, help the human being to grow, create a social trust, all those things. Very important thing that everybody should lead a happy life. So when question of leading a happy life comes, then definitely we cannot ignore what is happening in society. Because everything, even you may be rich, you may be powerful positions, you cannot remain happy. Your children cannot remain happy if society is polluted, contaminated. Because there is a growing mistrust in society, violence, rape and murders. People have become greedy, insensitive, arrogant, violent, vindictive. So when these bad qualities are growing, so how much money, power you have, you cannot remain happy because you have to move in outside. Your children have to go to school, college, institution, for jobs. So it is a very important thing, irrespective of one may be student of economics, political science or any topic. He has to read, he has to think about the society. That is the most important thing. So I am very happy that today a very important topic has been chosen for discussion, though it is what I will discuss. I not as a academician or a student of sociology, as a social thinker, what I understand society, that is the most important thing. And particularly role of media is very also important to think about this. When coming into the topic, the crumbling institution of marriage and the role of media. We will keep the role of media for the latter part of our discussion. First, we will come into the institution of marriage. Exactly before going to the marriage, marriage is a part of life. Life has various stages, childhood to till death. Sometime our student stage or a earning stage or a pre-retirement, retirement, all are stages. One's life is incomplete unless one passes all those phases of life. So marriage is an important part of life. It is the most important turning part of life because one have to cope with another person, another unknown person. That is the very, very vital thing and the most important part of life is marriage. Life, what do you understand life? Life is not just to mean for enjoyment. Life means to adjustment with the grim reality of society. Adjusting with the emotions of others, adjustment with the feeling of others. In life, it is not too difficult to get a big job or to get a established in our society. But the most difficult thing in life is to make others happy in your family or in a society, because people do not see the what you have contributed to them. People see what you fail to contribute to them. So in life, it is very difficult to adjust with others, and particularly most difficult thing is to dealing with a human being, because human mind is a mechanism is yet to be unraveled. Science has yet to discover or unravel what is happening in human mind, why he is thinking, what he is thinking, when thinking, why it is thinking and sleeping, why it is irrational, why it is irrational, why human being knows everything, that killing a person is bad, or drinking is bad, or smoking is bad, or wearing not helmet is bad, or violating rule regulation is bad. Still man is highly not acting rationally always. That is the most important thing. So human life is basically it is adjustment with the grim reality of the society. That is the most difficult thing. And the most difficult thing is to become a successful father, successful brother, successful brother in the, or successful mother, successful daughter, or successful sister. It is the most difficult thing in life. So marriage is one of the important aspect of life. It is the most important turning up point of life. Then question is comes, so what is marriage? Marriage is a union of two unknown hearts or two unknown families. Family, after marriage, families come into discussion. So marriage is a union of two unknown persons, both belong to different sexes, opposite sexes. It is a very important thing is that just not objective of marriage is not only procreation or sexual gratification. The very objective of marriage is to sharing one's emotions, sharing one's feelings, sharing one's well-beings, sharing one's thought. That is only possible when you get a person who is close to you. That only your spouse who can be very close to you. Oh. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Now you can continue.
Only important thing is that marriage unite to unknown person, to unknown heart. That is a biggest institution. It may be question arise whether you are it is a institution or by choice. What I say, marriage is an institution. It is not by choice. Choice means when if you can think marriage as a choice, when you say it is only the objective of marriage is sexual satisfaction, then we can say it is marriage by choice. But the objective of a marriage is not only sexual satisfaction, sharing emotions, thoughts, feeling, economic security, procreation, emotional bondage, all are important factors. It is no doubt. It is the sexual relation that unites two unknown person within a second. That is the most important thing. But to sustain the institution of marriage, it requires a lot of sacrifice, adjustments. You see, with the passage of time, after you are having children, then you are growing, become older, then your attachment is not only linked with the sexual gratification, it is linked with the emotional attachment. How you are, there is a more emotion between husband and wife. Even in old age, when one expires, one spouse expires, another feel very lonely because lack of person to, he lacks person to share one's emotion. Important thing is that why I am calling marriage an institution, because it teaches many things. Institution means we learn from an institution. So, for example, one university, because it is an institution because we learn in university. Marriage and institution because we learn from the marriage. Because what we marriage, we may learn what is the society, what is the human being, what is the emotions, what is the consequence of losing some near and dear ones, how to adjust with the others, how to share one's feelings. One man learns from not only learn from books, one learns from day-to-day activities, from society. By the process of with the passage of your marriage, one learns. So marriage is an institution. We cannot say it is just by choice. So marriage is an important thing. It is an institution undoubtedly. Difference is when marriage took place, we say the ceremony as a wedding ceremony. But marriage means from starting to wedding till death. Marriage continued from wedding to till death. And it has no substitute. It has no substitute because it is necessary for sustaining the society, for sustaining a new generation. Because if there will be no marriage or there will be no physical relation between two opposite sexes, then there will be no procreation. Society cannot be sustained. So important thing is that marriage is an institution, not it is by choice, and it should be inclusive, not exclusive. Before going to that topic, we must discuss what are type of marriage. That is one important thing is that what are type of marriage. One thing is that one type of marriage is monogamy. Monogamy means having one spouse. One man will marry another woman, or one woman will marry another woman. That is, it is divided by two types: serial monogamy and non-serial monogamy. Serial monogamy means one will marry one, but after a divorce or after death, he can marry another, or she can marry another persons. But non-serial monogamy means one will have only one spouse, even after death she will or he will not marry. That has happened in the life of Lord Rama, who was not married when Sita was banished. He did not marry when Sita, exactly we can say when she committed one sort of suicide. It is not exactly suicide, but when she left this maiden world, so he did not marry again. That is, we can say, non-serial monogamy. Another type is type of marriage is polygamy. Polygamy means having multiple spouses. One will have many wives, or one wife will have many husbands. So that is polygamy. It is also divided. It is polygyny. Polygyny means it refers to the marriage in which man marries multiple women at a time. Each of the wives lives in a separate household. That is, polygyny means one marries multiple women and they remain in different places, not in one places. Another, it is also divided two parts: sororal polygyny. That means when one marry one's wife sisters, then it is sororal polygyny. Another is non-sororal polygyny, means one marries not the wife of sisters, not wife sisters, some others. But another important thing is polyandry. Polyandry means in which women gets married to multiple men. That has happened in case of we have seen in Draupadi had married. That is another thing. She married in a different situation. Polyandry is the type of marriage in which woman gets married to multiple men, and it is also divided two types: fraternal polyandry and non-fraternal polyandry. Fraternal polyandry means when one marries brothers. Non-fraternal means non-brother. They are not brothers. Similarly, endogamy. Endogamy is also referred to group marriage. Group marriage and type of marriage in which some men marry some women, and every one of the women is the wife of every man. It is endogamy. Similarly, endogamy can be kind of marriage in which one marries within one's own group, and for example, tribal endogamy. Another important thing is exogamy. Exogamy is the kind of marriage when one marries outside one gotra, village, caste, and so many things. And there are also different type of marriage. One is Anuloma marriage, Pratiloma marriage, interfaith marriage. Anuloma marriage means a man from higher caste marries lower caste. Anuloma, Pratiloma means man from lower caste marries a woman from higher caste. Interfaith or interreligious marriage means a marriage between the persons belong to different religions, which is prohibited or restricted in almost all religions, though it happens. Another thing is incest taboo. That means marriage between blood relation, which is also morally prohibited and scientifically also prohibited. It has a more detrimental impact. Now coming to our discussion, marriage can be arranged marriage, marriage can be love marriage, marriage can be love come arranged marriage, marriage can be forced marriage. So which type of marriage is the best marriage? That is a very important thing and a debatable point. That must be what the question must be creeping in the mind of student friends. What type of marriage is good? It is basically nobody can tell which type of marriage will be good for him or her. It depends upon one's rational approach. Some cases love marriage is good, some cases in arranged marriage is good, some cases forced marriage is never good. It is never good because that is not good as per all law, and so it may be also good for love of arranged marriage. Particularly, we are a society where arranged marriage is basically given stress. As per as various survey, NDTV survey or other survey, around 90% marriage are arranged marriage. And there was a survey, around 73% youth told that they prefer arranged marriage. And overall in the world, arranged marriage is around 40%, but it is America, it is very less. As far as love marriage, it is around more in Western society, but in India it is very less. Forced marriage, I am not in favor of at all in forced marriage, but other three types, love come arranged marriage or love marriage or arranged marriage, I am in favor of this, provided depending upon the situation. That is the most important thing. We will go on discussing one by one. First thing is, let us discuss about the implication of arranged marriage. In few years back, or it may be some years back, there was arranged marriage was given priority. In arranged marriage, fathers or parents or relatives or middlemen, they give proposals. Then they sometimes when proposal comes from parents or other sides, if parents agree, then children usually accept this proposal. So in past, children even couple were not used to see both each other before marriage. In arranged marriage, it is now they are interacting, discussing. In past 30-40 years back, they were not even seeing before the marriage. Still, they were successful. Why arranged marriage was successful in past? it is even today successful. The reason is that age has a impact in deciding what is good and bad. Parents sees what is how one can be remain in good positions. They see other aspect. They are not swayed by only emotions or beauty or handsomeness or only figure. They think about family status, caste, their antecedents. So all factors contributes to the success of marriage. Particularly, there may be question in your mind whether intercaste marriage or interfaith marriage is good or bad. My views is that society has a different rule. Society, we cannot ignore the society fully. But my philosophy is that it is not question of intercaste or interfaith or interreligious. Question is your position status should be same, because it is not marriage. It is not only based on a sexual relation, because it is sharing emotions, thoughts, feelings, status, sharing one's knowledge. So there should be equivalent. If exactly not equivalent, once both partner or both family should be in same line. For example, one is intellectual. He should prefer, or his children is intellectual. He should prefer a family who have similar culture. Suppose one is born in an industrialist family. He should choose or she should choose a family of a similar nature, business oriented. Suppose one is in a political, one is a born in a politician family or grown in a politician family. He should choose similar type of family. So there will not be much difference and difficulties in the future. It is what my views is that interrelated, intercaste, interreligious or other marriage. I am not concerned with this. I am concerned with the status, knowledge, ideology, thoughts, process. For example, one's ideology is very left-leaning. Another ideology is very rightist-leaning or reactive, something different. If both family get give in their children's marriage, in latter stage there may be also conflict. So similarly, that is my point, is that status, way of living, objective should be more or less, if not similar. That should be the criteria for selecting partner or giving your daughter or son in marriage. That is the most important thing. But caste or other facts. But what is important thing? There were in past, when we are living in village, caste has impact. The way of life was very much influenced by the profession. Today, profession has changed. Everybody is doing jobs. So when belonging to all caste, Brahmin, Karan, or SC, ST, all are employed. So they are now, their caste is not SC, ST, or Brahmini or Karan. They are just employees. So there can be marriage among their families. So that is my point of view, is that marriage should be, before marriage we should see the social linkage, social similarity, parity, status parity, because there will be no problem in the future. That is the most important thing. You mean marriage, it is not just a union of two person, it is a union of family relations. That is important. Marriage is also an institution where you do not live for only your spouse. You live for your children, you live for your family, you live for your father, mother, sister, brother. You have to live for your father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law. So that part of your life, you cannot confine today. Younger generation are confining their life into only wife, children. That is wrong. That concept is wrong. Joint family is crumbling. But my concept is that when you think of family, when institution of marriage, you have to satisfy. Also, you have to keep to happy other members of family. That no, otherwise your marriage cannot be termed as successful. If you cannot keep your father, mother, sister, brother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, because they are also equally important. Happy, or if you cannot keep relation with them, then you cannot say that your marriage is successful. You can say if you are happy with your spouse, then you can say that your conjugal life is successful. Your marriage life is successful. But you cannot say, if you cannot keep others happy, you cannot say that your institutional marriage has become a success. So that is, institutional marriage is much bigger than that is a conjugal life. That is the important point what I want to tell. The important thing what I was discussing, arranged marriage, love marriage, love or arranged marriage. In arranged marriage, parents were able to see the reality, future prospect. They were not driven emotionally. It has also drawback, as both spouses do not know each other before marriage. Sometimes it becomes too difficult to adjust. Another important thing is that earlier marriage was successful. There was no divorce, though there was no extramarital relation, very rare, because they were obeyed by social customs. And what was the important thing? There was a imposition of, there was a restriction on women in the name of chastity. You see the Puran, Mahabharata, Ramayana, always it is chastity is linked with women only, not men. That is the wrong thing. I do not agree with this concept. It should be linked with both men and women. And in past, women was subjugated to patriarchal restriction. They were not allowed to move. They were not able to express their sexual desire openly. They were not ventilated their feeling. So the one section was suppressed, another section was not suppressed. So there cannot be disturbance if one is suppressed or one is made to be subservient or submissive to another section. So women in past, women were made to subservient, submissive, they had to maintain chastity, they were responsible for the maintaining the married life, they were responsible to make the happy, so they were tolerating. That is, they do not able to react. That is why arranged marriage was successful, one of the reason. But today what is happening? Today the people, the youth are coming for love marriage. In some cases, love marriage is becoming without parents' approval. In some cases, with parents' approval. When it is parents' approval, then we can say it is a love cum arranged marriage, which is a good thing. Love cum arranged marriage is good, but without parent approval, it is not good. Why I am telling? Two aspects. It has both positive aspect and both negative aspect. It is true, in some cases, parents may be influenced by social position, status, their wealth, that also influence their selection process. So they do not understand the feeling of their child. That may happen. But another aspect is a point of view. Our youth are quite mature to select their spouse, select their life partner. Our judiciary court allows that once one is an adult or a marriageable age, nobody can prevent wherever they marry. Legally, they are entitled to marry once they have crossed that age. By parents' approval is meaningless. Parent can approve, parent can disapprove. But it has the serious consequence because very few youth are able to decide their life partner rationally. That is the main criteria failure of the law marriage. Because Bombay High Court has given verdict that divorces are more in case of law marriage than arranged marriage. That's why there is more divorces in law marriage. That is the most thing. Why there is extramarital relationship, why there is a premarital relationship, why there is so many divorces, why many family marriage life are crumbling, institutional marriage is crumbling, what you are main objective of topic. That is that needs to be discussed. That is the important thing. Because in law marriage, when both a girl, boy meet each other, or either in school or college or in any sphere, they do not understand the grim reality of life. Their love is emotion driven, not reality driven. That is the most important thing. It is not that. We must be very frank because there is always attraction between two opposite poles. So there is always attraction between two opposite sexes. It is not that when we are students of a school, college, we do not have such emotions. We had also emotions, we also feelings. It happens in whether you are good or bad person. It happens in everybody's mind. If it does not in your mind, then you are not a physically fit person. You are unfit. You are not a human being. But good persons only regulate their desire. They control their decision is driven by conscience, not driven by emotions. That is the most important. Because in youth stage, those who are reading in college or universities, they are emotion driven. They do not when they meet each other, they do not tell about their family. They do not tell their weakness. They do not tell whether they have affairs with others persons. They do not tell their weakness. They tell only their positiveness. They promise to bring the moon for others. They promise that they will sacrifice everything. Life is not a drama. We must remember. Life is not a drama. Life is a reality. That is the most important point of what I want to tell. In drama or opera, I regularly see opera in night. While writing or reading, I also used to see regular every day. Most of time I see. Life is not a drama. Life is a reality. That must understand the youth. Why not a drama? In drama, villains dies. Villain tortures hero, heroines, others kills. In the finally hero wins. Their love wins. But in reality, that does not happen. Villains most of time wins. In reality, and love in drama, opera, story, film is not the same as love in reality. When as a male person, if you do not have money, then your wife, your children will not pay respect to you because you are unable to fulfill their desire. If you do not pay medicine, your parents will not like you that my son is neglecting me. Money also plays important role. So when youth are emotionally attached before marriage, they do not think of the reality. They do not think always. Most of them do not think rationally. That is the most problems. They do not know what should be the qualification, what should be the position of my spouse. But when emotion driven, when they face the reality of life, when the grim reality of life, then they crumble. Then quarrel starts. Then argument starts. Then each starts to blame each other. Each starts to blame each other parents. Each start to blame each other caste. Each start to each other family members. Then divorce starts. That is the important. Another thing is demerit of law marriage. That is the obsessive love disorder. What is obsessive love disorder? Obsessive love disorder means that is one type of disease which a patient is unable to know. That is the most important thing. That can happen to everybody. That can happen. Every youth, nobody say he may be a brilliant student, he may be a IS officer, he may be a OS officer, he may be academician, he can also suffer such type of disease, because we must understand disease is physical and mental. Do you think that good people do not suffer mental disease? They suffer sleep disorder, they suffer mental anxiety. When you have a human body, you have a physical disease, mental disease. So obsessive disorder, one type of disorder that every sensitive good person can also, good youth can suffer. What they think probably the opposite sex is the best possible partner for me. They think that nobody can replace that person. They think that they want to protect that person by any means. They sacrifice their family, they ignore their family, they ignore their status, they ignore the reality. Then they marry sometimes. They sometimes fail to marry, they sometimes marry. When they marry, they become successful at that time, but when grim reality comes, then everything crumbles, divorce happens. That is the most important thing. And another important thing is deceiving. Now, there is a mistrust. In past, there was a love marriage or arranged marriage. There was not so mistrust. And basically, in past, when we were student, at that time there was a love marriage, but there was never a physical relation before marriage. This is only emotional attachment. Emotional attachment happens everybody's case. I can say, is there any human being in this earth, he had never developed any emotional attachment with any opposite sex. He may not tell this. He may not or she may not express this. But that happens in the mind, because this is the basic instinct of a human, we must accept. But they do not tell. The emotional weakness, emotional attachment, it is part of life. It is part of youth. That is nothing. Even after marriage, after 70, 80, people have developing emotional attachment. But at that time in the past, they had never gone for sexual relation, physical relation, only they were going for after marriage. But present crisis is today, we are influenced by Western culture. We are emulating celebrities. Society today, internet is flooded with pornography. Film is flooded with pornography. Mind thoughts are perverted. Youth are destroyed. And they are enticing opposite sex for sexual relations. Sometimes girls are indulging, advancing, sometimes male are advancing. And what is happening problem? When they are failing to marriage, then they are crumbling. When they before marriage, when they are becoming parents, then they are not able to accept what we saw every day in the televisions. Another thing is that in the past our ethics behavior was influenced by our professions. A teacher, for example, he was just behaving students as fathers. A police was thinking he's a custodian of all rule regulation. A judge was thinking that my responsibility to pronounce verdict, I should make myself clean. So professional ethics was maintained, and their life behavior was influenced by their professional thing, but there was also exception. There was some exception. But today, there is a growing incest, relation between blood, relations between different age group, lower age, higher age group, among relations. This is just gradually teacher, students, or different relation, which is very painful to see in media. That is what is more disturbing. Media is showing this frequently. Exactly what my point of view. In the past, there was emotion, attachment. People have a weakness. So in some cases, it was successful. It was fructified as marriage. Some cases, it was failing. So there was no problem. But in present society, going for a physical relation is destroying the environment, destroying the future of earth. Many talent has been destroyed because going in the wrong way. Because when you develop such type of illicit relations, then definitely your study will be affected, you will be mentally disturbed, you will be not be that much of honest in your approach, you will not be feel confident. So you have to control this. What I again want to point out the youth, because when we are student, we have that emotion. You will have emotion. But for the sake of a society, emotion is a part of a human being. That is, it is not, I am not telling that is a crime, or I am not telling it is a sin, a virtue or vices. It is not question. Question of a reality. Question of I am reading, my future is uncertain. What should I do? My role is to get established in society, to get a job. After getting established, I am not telling only you get job, but you have to make dent in society. You have to make yourself famous in society. You should mark in society. You should get your established. After establishment, after you should not be known by your parents. You should not be known by others. You should be known by your name. Your parents should be known by you. So you should reach that stage. Then, but after getting establishment, then you can marry. When you marry, you have to see other aspect. It is not only the beauty is the only criteria. You have to see the reality, other aspect. Otherwise, marriage cannot be successful. So that is my point of view, is that I am neither against love marriage nor arranged marriage or intercaste marriage. But it should be a reality should not be missed. Emotion driven marriage cannot. It is true. Love comes from emotions. Out of love comes from emotions. But we have to be reality driven, not emotion driven. And another thing is that we have learned Puran, Mahabharata, Krishna. Lord Krishna was loving Radha, but he did not marry Radha, he married another. Why it happened? Because then reality outweighs the emotions. That is the thing. We must understand, we must learn the things. But one should not must be reality. And what is happening today, what is dangerous today, it is not only going for physical relation before marriage. Another important thing is there is a deception, there is a cheating, there is a fraudulent motive. People, for example, in some cases, male are trying to marry a daughter of rich persons, established person to acquire wealth. They are becoming successful in some cases. That is happening. In some cases, women are also luring men, and they are also blackmailing them and accumulating wealth. And we see in social media, sometimes somebody comes and put into troubles or drag into controversy or send some message, videos, and if you by knowingly or unknowingly you commit a mistake, then you will pay penalty throughout your life. Then if you neither you can disclose nor you can tolerate, then your life will be miserable. So that is the most important thing, that today youth are emotion driven. They are unable to understand reality. They are also understand the fraudulent, deceptive mentality of another person. That is very difficult to know when your life is emotion driven. One can learn only life when he faces difficulties. For example, if we tell our past to our children, how we are struggling for money, how we are going to school by just wearing a slipper, using umbrella or bicycle, or leading a very difficult life, shortage of money, we are not able to eat what we want. That help us to grow, become a man of principle, honest, that regulated our life. But if we tell our children, they will think that is a story. They will not accept. So my point of view is that marriage is something different from love, emotions, and love emotion does not mean you should go for physical relation before marriage. Love emotion does not mean it should be always converted into marriage, but it should have it has its meaning is forgiveness or sacrifice. Those who are modern youth, they should know that in the past everybody, those old or younger, they had emotion, they have some develop weakness, then they adjust with the reality. So neither intercaste marriage, nor interfaith marriage, nor love marriage, nor arranged marriage, anything, if I can only tell one thing, when you are selecting your partner or institution of marriage, you should see the reality, you should see the same level, your level of status and others' level of status, not only status, level of thinking, level of ideology, level of family. Intellectual family should not go for a business family. An intellectual family should not go to a political family. That will, in future, there may be a family disturbances. That happens. So anyway, it is very difficult to tell this. The next important thing is that what is happening today in society. Many marriages are crumbling. Divorce is increasing rapidly. That is because of influence of society. And in past, marriage was a social obligation, institution of marriage. It was a institution of sacrifice, adjustment, all these things. Today, gradually, concept of marriage is gradually confining to sensual pleasure, sex gratification. It is one important aspect of marriage. It is one important aspect of marriage. Even first important aspect of, because that unites to unknown heart, to unknown person within a second. But if entire institution of marriage is only decided will be sensual pleasure, hedonism, then that is why society is crumbling today. That is why premarital, extramarital affairs is growing. It is whether it is a crime or I am not discussing. You must be reality. What happens today? Even some are exchanging their spouses. They are going from different places for enjoyment. What happens when one goes from one person to another person? That creates disturbance in the society. It is what happens if father goes somewhere, mother goes somewhere, children goes somewhere, then family destroyed. Family is destroyed. Culture is destroyed. So we have to be guided by certain rule regulation. We have to honor the institution of marriage. It is not whether it is, I am not telling it is a crime or it is a sin or it is a bad or it is a unnecessary or everybody do not have such desire. Everybody has such desire. That is not wrong. But you have to see what your life is important thing, and you do not know what will happen before marriage or after marriage. You have to what you have to see what you have contributed to society, positive way or negative way. So you have to contribute to the society in a positive way to improve our culture, to make life pleasant. Now coming to the important two things I will deal, role of media, and another important thing is that what have changed. in past sustaining marriage was mainly depending upon women. Now sustaining marriage has to depending upon both men and women. Both have equal role. So we must understand. Second thing is, it is no doubt to women are physically weak. That is why they are physically tortured or raped or murdered more. But more stress, family responsibility are borne by male. That must understand that society is completely ignoring the plight of male who bears, who have to cope with more stress of the family, even more than women. Women does more homework, but stress borne by more by men. That must be important thing. Both male and female have to now cope with this. Another important thing, remarriage and extramarital. I am against premarital and extramarital relationship, but I am not against the remarriage at any stage. I am not against remarriage at any stage because suppose one spouse is expired, one's love, affection, commitment should be when he is alive. But one's life should not be miserable after death of another. So at any stage, society should allow, whether it is 30 or 40 or 70, 80, one needs partner. Because in joint, now nuclear family, parents are alone, they can marry, but that should be legally. There can be remarriage legally, but after death of a spouse or after divorce. But when your spouse is present, no question of extramarital, premarital should be allowed, and it should be severely penalized by law. Now, important thing is now coming to the last chapter of my topic, that is role of media. That is the most important thing. Media has important role. One, it must be financially viable. If not financially viable, then how can it pay salary? How can it exist? It cannot exist. So it has to show program, some TRP oriented program, and it should seek advertisement. We must understand the grim reality of media. Media has to also financially viable, but many media are struggling today. After Corona pandemic, they are struggling. That is happening problem. And without black money, it is also very difficult to open a media. That is the very real grim reality. But another aspect is the social responsibility. Media has got a social responsibility. Media should not be influenced by the taste and preference of the people. Rather, media should influence the taste and preference of the people in a positive way. That is the important thing. For example, there are certain things which should be confined to the four walls of the house. Everybody wants to love it, to see it, like it, but society wants that it should be confined to the four walls of the house for a betterment of the society, but culture of the society, for improvement of the society. But media, social media, electronic media, internet are bringing the nudity, vulgarity to public forum, in public sphere. That is damaging the society, particularly damaging the youth. Because we are aged, we are matured, we are married, it will not going to affect our mind at all. But those are teenage, those are say 17, 18 or 20, they may get destroyed and also getting some destroyed. Those who are not able to control them, or parents are not able to control them, they are now facing a lot of problems. So that should not be confined. What now media is doing, they are bringing the discussion of the inner house, family, a picture of the four walls to public. That is destroying our culture. And their role, when there is a divorce or there is a difference, is there any human being in the society or any couple in the society who did not have disturbances, who did not have quarrels, who do not have a difference of opinion? Everybody has. Everybody has, only degrees varies person to person. Because when you different person, you have to adjust with it after marriage. Then even both are good, there may be difference, there may be arguments. That happens. But media policy should solve the problems. Instead of the solve the problems, they are taking the interview, they are for TRP, they are showing frequently, they are destroying the culture, and they are deriving advertisement for this. They are glorifying these such activities. If somebody has caused a problem or have a extramarital relationship or destroyed one's family life, then whether she is a celebrity or a star or a sports person, why media is glorifying them, or why media is going to interview them? Why media is showing them? Why media is showing the personal life of a celebrity? Media can show the film. Media should not enter into the personal life of anybody. Their family quarrel, their disturbance life, their conjugal life, all this only media can do. They should guide them. They should solve the problem. They should educate the society. They should educate the society how to cope with this stress. So media is failing, and as far as our society is a patriarchal society. Patriarchal society does not mean it is a male-dominated society, but it does not mean the patriarchal mindset is only associated with the male. Patriarchal society means male dominance, means it is associated with both male and female. A woman wants a son. Sometimes father wants a daughter, woman wants a son. One daughter-in-law is exploited more by mother-in-law and sister-in-law, not father-in-law or brother-in-law. That happens. So our society give weightage to more son, children's male child. So it is a patriarchal society, because they think that a male member or a male child will be a source of a security in the future, which has a change today. We have to change in mind. But physically they are stronger. That much we have to accept, because a male can move, your son can move in a late night, but your daughter cannot move. That is the grim reality we must have to accept. Most important thing is that we have a gender gap. In gender gap index, we have around 135 position. That means behind 134 countries. It will take around 200 years to close the gender gap. In gender equity index, even our position is 125. That is behind 124 countries. And what is most important things? Women are subject to violence at home. They are either life partner or their relations. 30% of the violence against or crime against committed by their husband or relatives. When they are subject to torture, criminal activities, crime by their own husband or relation, then how can we accept society change? That is the most important. But simultaneously also you must also think, many parents, many father-in-law or daughter, they are not taken care of by their daughter-in-law. When a lady is getting married with a male member, she has to also think of her father-in-law, mother-in-law, the family. But they are confined to their family, only husband, wife and children. That is happening, that is also important aspect. And what in our patriarchal society, we should not expect independence, 100% independence. It is not that equal does not mean one male should, while a woman will cook rice, a male will cook the dal. No. One should do the job which is best suited. For example, when we are going in a bus, there is one seat. Husband is standing, she is allowing wife to sit. When both are going to the station, they have child. When wife is carrying child, husband is carrying luggage. When your guest is coming, when woman is preparing tea, husband is going the market for purchase of in materials. So when you are driving vehicle, in the most of cases, husband are driving, wife are sitting. So equality does not means that means as many women activists tell, one should prepare rice, another should prepare dal. No. That is wrong. That means one should do the best suited, but one should have a equal independent decision and economic decision, and that can be feasible when women try for jobs, when women earning. In most of time, I advise the women, then why you should not try to earn something? Why you should ask your husband that pay some rupees, I want to take some sweets or fruits from my parents? No, they should be independent, they should earn, but they should be obedient to their parents. They should also understand the problem of their husbands, because when one woman enter into another family, a husband has got a social obligation to his father, mother, sisters, others. When a lady marry a male, she also has to think the problem of her husband. Equally, husband also, male member has to carry the responsibility of his wife's parents. If there is nobody to look after the parents of his wife, then he has got responsibility. So that is rarely happening. We cannot blame only male. We can blame society. This is a societal problems. When both men and can be made responsible, both men and can to adjust, and particularly this is the grim reality in a society which we must understand. And finally, hope I have covered almost all points what I was thinking. Exactly, marriage is an institution, it is not a choice. Marriage, it unites two persons, unknown persons. It is because of sexual intimacy. That is the most important criteria driving two unknown person, opposite sex. But emotional sharing, feelings, thoughts, emotions, security, all are gradually take priority while sexual relation recedes with the passage of age. It is your life is full of experiences. Your life is incomplete unless you pass all those stages of life from childhood to old age. So I am not a student of sociology, never studied sociology nor a political science. What I told out of my thinking thoughts, what I have learned from society. One will say, most difficult thing is to deal with human beings. It is most difficult to become a successful, to lead a successful married life, to become a successful parents, to successful father, mother. Even you may be good, you may not be. If your partner is good, not good, then you have a problem. Even if you may be good, if your children do not accept you or do not listen, you may have a problem. So that happens in the society. It is very difficult to judge from a person outside seeing, and media has got responsibility. Media does not know who has wrong, who has committed mistake, what is happening in the four walls of the house. They should not bring all those matters into public. They should not show the incest. They should not show the sexual relation in publicly. They should not misguide the youth. They should only do, preach, discuss which will sustain the institution of marriage, which will make the married life happy. We are born, we do not know where we have come, we do not know after that where we will go. Life is precious, it should be utilized in a positive way. We must contribute to the society in a positive way. Thank you all, thank you organizer, thank you students, thank you faculty, those who have given patience hearing. With this, I conclude my speech. Thank you, namaste.
So thank you, Dr. Mahapatra. I think in one sentence, if I summarize your talk, that marriage, to be successful, it has to be